The final stage of the New Zealand Cycle Classic is 12 laps of a 10-kilometre circuit. Usually a pretty straightforward affair, but when you have 6 riders within 24 seconds of the lead, anything can happen. Robert Stannard leads the race for Team Skoda Racing by a very slender margin. You can be sure the other teams are going to throw everything at him. With 19 seconds of time bonuses available, this race is wide open. Steve Stannard, a really exciting day for you. Robert's in the yellow jersey, very slender margin, 6 riders within 24 seconds. How's he feeling?
Well, I had a quick chat with him. I think he's sort of moderately confident, but he knows it's going to be a pretty damn hard day. You know, there's only, I think, 5 seconds between first and second, and they've just got to be right on the... Each team's got to be right on the button. I think they know that.
You've been in this situation in races before. What have you told him?
My suggestion is you've got to keep yourself as fresh as possible, and you've got to shut it down quickly. You can't let a break get down the road and have to chase it all day, because then you've got nothing left when it counts at the end. You know, the race is won and lost at the finish. That's what I keep telling them.
It will be won and lost at the finish, but first they've got to complete 12 laps of a 10-kilometre circuit around Masterton. Very important sprint laps on lap 4, 6 and 8. They carry those all-important time bonuses. Lined up at the start. A big field, a lot of pressure on that young man, Robert Stannard. Underway. Oliver's Real Food Racing, they've had a great tour. They had the yellow jersey the first 3 days of the race. Fagan Motors, the lead car. Huge thank you to Fagan Motors for once again their support of the New Zealand Cycle Classic. George Sandoval waves the flag. They are underway, and as always, as we say every day, as soon as the flag drops, the racing starts with real aggression. Mobius straight away into it, as they have done throughout much of the tour, being very aggressive. Been along. What do they want out of this tour? It hasn't really gone their way. They've tried hard. They had the defending champion Joe Cooper in the team. Sometimes you ride your heart out. Oh, great support on the side of the road. The riders will love that today. So Team Skoda Racing, the young team, they've got a lot of work to do today. Can they protect Robert Stannard, Alex West, Ben Hamilton, Bradley Leach, Harry Wayne, Max Jones? They've got a job in front of them. The New Zealand national team, you can be sure they'll have a plan, but so will JLT Condor, so will Brisbane, JLT Condor. Bibby was in great form yesterday. Can he move up the general classification today? Straight away, the early laps, the break has gone off the front. Will they let it go? Luke Mudgway's in there for the New Zealand national team. Callan O'Brien, Brendan Davis from Benelong Swiss Wellness, Luke Mudgway, 2 from Brisbane, the Brisbane Continental Cycling Team. Gee, they've been aggressive throughout the tour. Luke Mudgway head down, getting up onto the wheel. That's the Benelong rider. Brendan Davis, Callan O'Brien, part of the Australian Teams Pursuit World Championship winning team. The brake tapping along. Will the peloton let it go, or is it too early? Or will other riders come across? Luke Mudgway did a power work yesterday going back, picking up the water bottles today. It's a different role, getting the break. There's Brad Evans trying to go across. The gap back to the peloton. So it looks like a fair distance on the road, but really it's around 6 or 7 seconds, maybe out to 10. Michael Torkler having a sneaky look over his shoulder. Team Skoda Racing sitting on the front. They're having to do a lot of chasing early. They come through. First sprint. Luke Mudgway. Or on the inside, did he get up? I think it might have been Callan O'Brien who took it. Callan O'Brien riding for the Australian Cycling Academy. Rides Sunshine Coast. Taylor Gunman leads the peloton through. I don't think I can ever remember this race in its 30-odd years, 31 years of going into this very last stage with the general classification so close. At the start of the day, Aidan McCormick just 5 seconds down on Robert Stannard. 6 riders within 24 seconds of the lead. Usually a circuit race like this, it's fairly straightforward. Steve Lampier pulls over, goes, what's going on? Come on. There's a break up the road. The big peloton. When it's strung out, the pace isn't slow. When it's bunched up, and that's why it's not slow. Brisbane Continental Cycling Team pouring the pace on. Brenton Davis going back. The peloton's coming back to this break. So Tom Robinson, he was in there. As soon as they come back, some others will go. You can guarantee it. Who will it be? Did they sit up? They know there'll be a counter-attack. Luke Mudgway looks over his shoulder. Luke Mudgway, the New Zealand national team, lined up. James Oram, Hayden McCormick. They may have let McCormick slip off the front here. Now this could be dangerous for Robert Stannard. There he is on the yellow jersey, just trying to get onto the back wheel of Brad Evans. That's Brad Evans trying to rip it across. They've seen that move go. Some strong riders in it from the distance. We'll pick them up as we get a closer shot. There's the peloton getting the time check. Sue Little on the back of Paul Dale's motorcycle, done a fantastic job all week. Commissaires on the race, giving the time checks, and of course policing, make sure the riders are doing everything right. We zoom up to the break. It's a big break, a lot of riders, teams with numbers. 2 from Brisbane. They go through. This is another sprint, very tight. Hayden McCormick might have just got there. No, it was Bibby. Bibby took it. And Bibby took it on the line. That moves him to 20 seconds behind Robert Stannard. Those few seconds, though, that Hayden McCormick picked up, they could be vital. 3, 2 and 1 for the intermediate sprints. 1 more to go. McCormick can win that. He will be equal on time with Robert Stannard. But really, he doesn't want to just get the time. He wants to get the gap. The break working well. This is the break of the bike race. It's a big break. A lot of teams represented with strong riders. Looks like a good spot to be, doesn't it? Hey, water the refreshments. Jordan Kirby just takes a big drink out of the water bottle. On the front, JLT Condor driving it along. Luke Mudgway looks over his shoulder, says, come on, we'll just keep this going, and he's got some pretty keen riders with him to keep the pace on. Traffic management crew have done a fantastic job throughout the week, keeping it safe. Hayden McCormick. You can be sure Hayden McCormick won't miss a turn. A few of these boys in this break, they're riding in the memory today. Jason Lowndes was tragically killed, and I know Hayden McCormick's been thinking of him all week. Upper Plain Road, well, nothing plain about it today. Plenty of racing, plenty of seconds, a lot to race for. They swing around the corner. Hayden McCormick leads. Ian Bibby follows him. The yellow shoes, the JLT Condor rider, winner of the stage yesterday. Brilliant sprint up Admiral's Hill. First time we've ever seen a bunch sprint up there. Team Skoda Racing, the young men lined up. The Swiss national team aren't in the break, so the Swiss national team could be a good ally here for Team Skoda Racing if they want to get across. Team manager might have to have a word. The team cars might have to offer Ross Majeski a little bit more than a few beers tonight if they want some help from the Swiss team, because all the teams will be looking to the yellow jersey to pull it back. These guys have got one job in front of them, one thing in mind, to get away, to get as much time as they can. They're committed. Really surprised they've let them get away. Another time check from the motorbike. Skoda just sitting on the front. They've let this one get maybe a little bit too far. Brilliant style of James Oram going through. Gee, he's put a lot of work in, and he's putting in a huge amount now, James Oram. The former national time trial champion. Really knows how to hurt himself. Couldn't ask for 2 better riders to have with you as teammates, but back in the bunch, the New Zealand national team. They've all worked tirelessly this week. Taylor Gunman, Joel Yates, Michael Torkler, Joel Yates and Taylor Gunman yesterday just did all the donkey work today. They can sit back and have the policeman's role. They've got the riders up the road. The riders they need up the road. That was the important thing for the New Zealand national team today. To get McCormick away, having Oram and Luke Mudgeway, they will just turn themselves inside out. But it's coming back together. There's the peloton. There's the yellow jersey. They're down to about 12, 15 seconds. Hayden McCormick knows it and he's put his head down. The Taylor Gunman just sneaks up on the inside of Robert Stannard. Robert looks around. You can be sure those New Zealand riders will not move. They've got 3 up the road. One of them could win the Tour if this break can stay away. Going through in the cars of Brisbane, World Individual Pursuit Champion Jordan Kirby. He's had an outstanding tour, put in an amazing amount of work and effort. He's been most aggressive rider on one of the stages of the tour. Hayden McCormick, so often the bridesmaid, chasing the title. Calendar Bryan, gosh, 2 of the best pursuiters in the world in the break. You couldn't ask for better, and they're committed. This young man, fighting for his life, fighting for the yellow jersey. Robert Stannard, he's truly world class. He hasn't looked in trouble all week. He's in a little bit of trouble now, though, with the New Zealand team, with the help of JLT Condor, the Brisbane Continental Cycling Team. But look, they're coming back, and the man on the front is the yellow jersey. That's a 10-second gap. So what do these guys do? Are they going to sit up? They've shelled some riders from the break. We're down to JLT Condor with 2, the New Zealand national team. All 3 still there. And we'll zoom back up, we'll see who's left. There we go. Hayden McCormick drives. Ian Bibby goes, well, don't you worry, you pull over, mate. I'm going to go as hard as I can. I can get on the podium here as well. Looks over his shoulder, that 10 seconds. I think it was the Benelong rider, Brenton Davis, that sat up. He's been in every move. He's ridden outstandingly on the stage. I think he thought it might have come back together. But JLT Condor, Jordan Kirby from Brisbane and the New Zealand, the 3 New Zealand riders. Robert Stannard is on the front. His team, they're done for the day, I think. I don't think his teammates can help him anymore. Robert Stannard now has to do it all by himself. The men in white, they're not going through. They've got Jordan Kirby up the road. The men in black, they've got Hayden McCormick. JLT, look at Ian Bibby go. He knows he can ride himself onto the podium. He can't win the Tour. Not while Hayden McCormick's there, but he can get himself up onto the podium on the general classification, and he knows it. Gritting the teeth. Looks over his shoulders. Jordan Kirby, now he's the man you want to have with you. Grabs the handlebars, head goes down. Quick, powerful turn. James Oram over the top. The quad bike struggling to match them. Getting down to the last few kilometres, the closing kilometres of the 2018 New Zealand Cycle Classic. 650 kilometres of racing, and it's coming down to seconds on the last stage. Right now we have Hayden McCormick and Robert Stannard dead heated on time with those time bonuses. It's time bonuses on the stage, but unless Stannard can pull this back together, Hayden McCormick will win the Tour. I tell you what, he's got his head down, the hands over the handlebars. Oh, he grits his teeth, goes through. They are working. They have gone away. They've gone out to around 20, 25 seconds now. This is looking good for the leading 5 riders. Hayden McCormick, he knows it. James Oram knows it. As soon as McCormick pulls over, Oram will go through. He is suffering, but he won't let that slow him down. Hayden McCormick's got the bit between his teeth. He's got Jason Lowndes on his shoulder today, doing a bit of a turn for him. Oh, McCormick keeps it going. James Oram finds a bit more strength. Ian Bibby's there as well. Thomas Stewart, JLT, they're coming in towards the finish. Who's got the sprint? Ian Bibby starting to line it up in the middle of the field. Jordan Kirby goes on the inside. JLT Condor. Ian Bibby trying to make it 2 in the row, but here comes the World Individual Pursuit Champion. Jordan Kirby gets there and celebrates. Hayden McCormick will be celebrating as well. They've got the gap as the bunch comes in. Cameron Scott, the Australian Cycling Academy, leads the bunch over the line. Robert Stannard's in there. So some quick calculations. I think Stannard will drop to third. And congratulations from his New Zealand teammates, the Vantage Windows and Doors New Zealand team, celebrating victory. Last year's champion Joe Cooper congratulating Hayden McCormick. Wow. This was a fight. It was a war today. And the New Zealand national team, Hayden McCormick, came out on top.
Jordan, congratulations on the stage win. Final stage, you've had a really big week, but you must be delighted with how it wrapped up.
Yeah, thanks, Del. We were looking after Michael Vink for most of the week, and then today it was raced so aggressively and I found myself in the move, and we nearly got caught with a lap and a half to go, and then six of us managed to stay off the front, and at that point we just gassed it all the way to the line, and I just managed to come round a JLT rider in the finish to get the stage win. It's actually my first ever UCI road race win, so after a long time I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, you raced hard all week, you put so much into this race, you've had the most aggressive rider, you've been close, you drove that break, and still have the legs to sprint. You must be delighted with your form.
Yeah, I think I'm travelling pretty well. We've put a lot of hard work in over the last few months, especially for the track build-up, and I love coming back here every year, and it's a race I actually get excited to come to, so it's just a good way to cap off a great week.
Well, Hayden, 2018 couldn't have kicked off really any better, a win in the New Zealand Cycle Classic.
It's amazing to win here, and yeah, the boys they worked hard, and I'm glad I could finally finish it off instead of being bridesmaid.
What were you thinking this morning? You were going to the last stage, you were 5 seconds down, you had to get away, and how difficult is that to execute?
Half a lap in, I knew we had a good chance. Rob's, I have the most respect for him, he's super strong, but he was chasing a lot of stuff, and I said to the boys, right, let's work him over, you know. He's following a lot of stuff, and he can't do that all day. So he was probably the strongest in the race, to be fair. He's ridden bloody well, and yesterday he was amazing, so I take my hat off to him, but not always the strongest in the race wins, and today we used our head and our hearts. Luke
Mudgeway, Taylor Gunman, the whole team, they've ridden their hearts out for you.
Yeah, like you said, it's normally me doing the grafting, so it's nice to be able to finish a job for the boys, and yeah, I mean, like I said before, a lot of people were questioning what we were doing yesterday and got a bit of stick for it, but yeah, sometimes you have to take the race on and believe in yourself and just put yourself out there to try and win it.
Congratulations to Jordan Kirby on winning the last stage. Hayden McCormick, a very fine victory, taking out the final general classification for 2018. Well, after 5 stages, 650 kilometres, it came down to really the sprints on the last day and a very aggressive Hayden McCormick to wrap up victory in the 2018 New Zealand Cycle Classic. His New Zealand national team, they rode their hearts out for him all week. He had to fight for it tooth and nail right to the end. Robert Stannard gave it everything, but the young man at the end of the day was just beaten by a very strong national team that were too good.